How we doing, TikTok? Make sure this is working. And it looks like it is. All right. All right. Welcome back, guys. This is Hacknation Live. I am your host, Aaron Bennett. We do this every Wednesday from 7 to 9 Central Time. If you're not familiar, you've never been here before, I'm an owner of a heavy-duty diesel mechanic shop. We do on-highway engines and industrial engines. We do a little bit of medium duty, but only if they're an industrial application. I come on here every Wednesday night to try and just lend some help to the community, see how many people I can help, how many questions I can answer. You're encouraged to participate in the comment section. I draw heavily from the comment section. We get a lot of heavy hitters in there. The more people, the more intelligence, the more answers we can come up with, the more people we can help. So if you're watching this on TikTok, we encourage you to go to YouTube or Facebook to watch this because you can't hear the caller. This is a fully integrated show where the caller, it's a call-in show, and the caller, you can hear them if you're watching it on TikTok or Facebook. So it's Hacknation on both of those, or not TikTok, sorry, Facebook or YouTube. If you're on TikTok, you won't be able to hear the caller once we start taking calls. Speaking of that, and we don't have any callers yet. Not surprising. We just started. The number for the show, guys, to call in is 573-422-4225. That's how you call in and participate. Bendon with Bendon. What's going on, buddy? When are you going to come back and visit us? That was a good time when you were here. You got to try to make it down to our 4th of July party that we have every year that you missed last year. I did figure out today how to bring a guest on the show via the web. In other words, I can add a guest. So we're going to get a couple guests on here right away. I've already talked to Charlie at Pure Diesel Repair. He said he'd come on here. Maybe have a couple of these other guys. Maybe have Ohio Truck Works on here. It's a couple of the guys out there that I'd like to give a chance to come on the show. So that should be fun. Of course, we have a lot of exciting things coming up for us. I'm probably going to miss the next show. I'm not sure how I'm going to handle that. I'll probably have one of my sons come in and do the show. I'm going to be gone. I have to go meet with the owners of Highway Heavy Parts, and we're going to do a last tour of the factory that's making our piston crowns and assembling our kits and all that, and make sure everything's the way that we had planned it to be, what we had envisioned in our mind. I've had lots of samples, but I've never got to see a completed kit. So we're going to be going to do that here the 9th, 10th, and 11th. I'll be gone those days, and then I'll be gone the 12th, 13th, and 14th as well, probably. So I'll probably miss the next show. Probably have my sons come do it, but we're that close, guys, to dropping our product line. I'm super excited about it. So there's that. Let's go ahead and get to some of the comments here. Might as well see if we don't have any callers, so do some comments instead. You mentioned a brand of Torx to pull peanut covers. What brand and where you get them? Shit. Now I can't remember what the brand is. I just bought another set of them last week. Shoot, what are they called? I can't remember what they're called. Sorry about that. You have great content. Thank you, man. What do I think about Schaefer's oil? Yeah. I'm not a big fan of Schaefer's oil. Their price point's pretty fucking ridiculous, and they don't have anything special. What they have is a name, and they have built on that name. I'm not saying it's not good oil. For the price point, it's never been my thing. I never would recommend people buy Schaefer's. It's not I mean, it's good oil. Don't get me wrong. There's just a lot of good oils on the market that don't have that kind of price point. You know, it's kind of like AMSOIL. I mean, you can't not be a fan of AMSOIL. It's probably the best oil. Fuck it. It's the best oil ever made. But at the price point that they have, it's not a viable oil. So I kind of feel the same way about Schaefer's. You know, Schaefer's certainly isn't an AMSOIL by any stretch of the imagination. I'm with a petroleum company right now to come out with my own line that I'm pretty excited about. The main thing I'm looking for out the gate is to get a good break-in oil. I want a good break-in oil that I can use on a regular basis, and I would like to make break-in oil available to all these other shops in the United States. Such a game changer, you know, and there's nothing out there. So thoughts on the McBee kit in a 60 Series 12.7. Now, I've been using Interstate McBee for years. I love their stuff. PAI. You guys got to understand, PAI, IPD, Interstate McBee, AFA, IPD, PDI, all those guys. I use all of them. I could grab my phone and go take a little tour right now. We have pretty much every single brand I just named in this shop. I don't have a problem using other people's kits. I've been able to use all of these kits all of these years and see what's lacking in every single kit. So I'm so excited for our own stuff to come out. You know, and we are taking a different path. Even our baseline kits that we're going to be coming out with, you know, they're going to be the longevity series. So you're just going to get a stock kit. Even those, we're going to code them because what we see what it does for longevity. And then we're going to have all our performance kits. Our performance kits are dropping first. But as far as everybody else's kits, you're not going to catch me talking shit about them. I mean, I use them for years. I'm currently using, there's PAI, IPD, and McBee being used in this shop right now today. I have been going back and coding most of those kits. Most of the people that have kits in our shop are opting to do our longevity upgrade, and we're coding them all ahead of our own product line coming out. So I just got to learn a lot about coding and got into it for myself from just developing all these products. So is HHB head going on my 6NZ new casting or reman? Or is it reman? You're out of framing. So all of the cylinder heads from HHP are new casting, 100%. We're hoping on our own head that comes out that we're going to do something a little different where we Teflon coat the Inconel valves. I think that's what's in the works for us. But the ones that HHP currently has, those are brand new. They don't do any reman stuff. Okay, let's see if we have any callers. There's a lot of comments that I don't mind answering. If we don't have, we do have callers. Okay, if you're on hold, we'll get to you here in just a second. I want to answer a couple more questions in the comment section. Again, guys, if you're watching on TikTok, we do appreciate the patronage, but we highly recommend you go over to YouTube or to Facebook, Hacknation over there, and watch the live because you'll be able to hear the caller. We're going to start taking callers here in a minute. You can't hear the caller if you're watching on TikTok. We're trying to figure out a way to fix that, but for now, it is what it is. The call-in number is 573-422-4225. This is Hacknation Live. I'm your host, Aaron Bennett, and I'm here just to give you guys my time. That's it. People call me all throughout the day. In fact, I got 3 phone calls today that I just sent the people the number to the show and said, man, I can't answer questions throughout the day. We got too much going on. Call the show. So that's what the show's for. Tips on a ISX12 Cummins. You know, the ISX12 is kind of like your old C12. It's pretty lackluster. Not a lot going on there for power. The big problem with the ISX12 is that they didn't make enough of them for aftermarket to show an interest in them, so you're stuck with OEM. So you pay a lot more to overhaul an ISX12. We've done 3 or 4 here. They're not a complicated engine, just like any other ISX, really. But man, they're really expensive because everything has to be OEM, and it's all reman. And I had problems with ISX12's heads, and I mean that's literally the only problem I see with the ISX12 is that you're forced to go OEM on it, and yeah. Would the 6NZ exhaust manifold fit the C13 Acer? That is a negatory, my friend. It will not. All right, let's take some of these callers, guys. We got a couple of people. Oh, we got a shit ton of people. So let's make sure it's working. Hello, can you hear me? Oh, great. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello?
There it is. Hello. Hello. I heard you. Not sure what's going on there. Not sure if it's on my end or his end, but oh, he hung up. Well, that was a short conversation. All right, we'll go ahead and take another one here. Hello, you're on the air. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I hear you.
Oh, thank God. What can we do for you, brother?
Yes, I got a question on pyrometer temperatures on a 6NZ. I got a new cat engine from Caterpillar, and I was wondering how hot's too hot on a pyrometer temperatures.
I mean, it kind of depends a little bit on what you're doing with it, but you know, your guys start to get pretty scared when they start to see 1100. You're not really going to damage anything at 1100. Maybe if you sustain, that's what I kind of mean by depends on what you're doing with it, before everybody freaks out. I mean, if you're pulling a 5 mile long mountain at 113,000 and you're in, you know, fourth direct and you have her burning at 1100 all the way to the top, that might not be the greatest idea, right? But 1200 is not actually going to hurt anything. You know, sustained 1200 is probably pretty dangerous, but it doesn't hurt anything to see it. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. I was breaking in my motor, trying to break it in correctly and building some heat. And it got up to 1200, and I was a little nervous about it.
I mean, if you asked Cat, I believe they tell you can go up to 1400. Pretty sure. I could be wrong about that, but I'm almost positive they will tell you can go up to 1400 without hurting anything. But I also know on the inverse of that, from doing a lot of heavy hauling on mountains, that if a guy sits there and holds her at 1200 for, you know, a 20-minute climb, it's probably going to fuck something up. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. It wasn't very long. It got the temperature got up there quicker than I thought it would. And I just seen it hit 1200, and I was a little nervous about it.
Yep.
All right. Well, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it, man. I mean,
all right. Thank you, sir.
If in the inverse of that, if you're driving the damn thing, you can't keep it from going to 1200. You might have an air-to-air leak or something like that, or clogged filters. You might want to look at what's going on.
It likes to run around 900 all the time. You know, with any kind of a pull, it's just above 900 all the time.
Yeah, 9 to 1100 is pretty good, to be honest with you.
All right. Well, that's what I was hoping you'd say. I was a little nervous. Thank you.
Yep. Have a good night and good luck. All right. There's one call down. We're doing good. You said a couple weeks back I could do 5 rebuilds for the price of, what were those engine comparisons? Oh, I don't know, man. Probably, I don't know what I was talking about a couple weeks back, but we see all kinds of crazy pricing here, you know. Like a guy sent me over a quote from Peterbilt today. It was for 43,000, and we gave him a quote for the same thing that he was getting quoted for 43,000 for 19. I mean, come on. So if that's what you're talking about, that's probably the kind of comparison I was going for. How come a C15 is not capable of 640 to build safely? Honestly, the answer to that question comes down to tuning. There's really not a tune out there, so you would have to, you would have to go with your stock tune of some sort, and then from there you would have to retard your timing and add so much fucking fuel to trying to get it to 640. that there's no way to make it there without tearing stuff up, right? You look at guys like the Coolant brothers. Well, they'll make like a 2,000 horsepower engine. They're only making like a 3 or 4 minute run with those, and then they're putting them back to stock, right? They're not running around trying to pull freight like that. So for people that like are confusing the two things there, I just wanted to care.
Yes, sir. You not?
Yeah, man. What can I do for you?
Oh, C15 2005 model was built about around 75,000 miles ago, supposedly, full in frame. And had to put a radiator in it because my water wasn't circulating. Okay, got that fixed, and temperature's been running fine and everything. And now all of a sudden it started putting pressure in my coolant system and just pushing the water out of it. I mean, time you crank it up, 45 seconds or something like that, it'll push water out.
Right, but that just means that when you were having your cooling issue, that you basically took care of it too late. You overheated the engine.
Okay.
And when you overheated the engine, I can pretty much guarantee you that you took out your cylinder head. As soon as you said you had a cat. I mean,
okay. All right. I'm just trying to make sure,
Yeah, all teasing aside. I mean, if you were calling me and we were talking about, what we're gonna maybe need to do to your engine or something, I would already deduce down you needed a new head at minimum.
Okay. That's kind of where I had got to. I've been a Detroit person all my life, and I've built Detroits and all that before, but I've never had a cat, never done anything with a cat, so I'm kind of in the dark. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there's guys in the comments talking about checking the air compressor and all that. You don't even need to waste your time doing that. No shade at the commenters, but if you have a known, if you're pushing coolant and you have a known event and they coincide, don't even waste your time. The cylinder head's no good.
Okay. All right. Well, that's what I was wanting to find. I've been following you, and I really enjoy watching your stuff and everything. And I told my wife, I said, I'm gonna call tonight just to see what he tells me.
Well, I appreciate the call, man. That's what I do this for, just to see how many people I can help out.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
Yep. Have a good night and good luck with that thing.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
All right. We have quite a few callers still. Guys, the number to call in is 573-422-4225. I do try to get to every single person. In fact, I haven't had a show where I didn't get to every single person unless you call in the last like 2 seconds or something. Anyway, this is Hacknation Live. I do this every Saturday or for Wednesday, whatever day. I used to have a radio show on Saturdays, AM show. For like 7 years. So that's where that slip up came from. But anyway, guys, we'll go ahead and take another caller here. Vinny. At least that's what it says his name is. Hey, man, you're on the air. What can I do for you?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, brother.
I got a 05 E15. I rebuilt it in 2019. And as of about 2 years ago, I've been noticing the coolant filter has been getting not plugged up where it's not useful, but I cut it open about 6 to 8 months ago and it was full of like soot. I had a coolant line blow like a month ago, and the bottom of when I drained the coolant, like the bottom of the pail had quite a bit of soot in it. What do you think is going on there?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you're listening to the last caller. I know you can hear when you're on hold, but I mean, you have a known event. You lost a coolant line. It got hotter than you probably think it did, and now you're putting combustion gas into the cooling system. Your head gasket is probably compromised, but I would guess that's because the head has taken a shit. And it's not that I'm always trying to blame it on the head. It's just you don't really lose a head gasket without also losing the head. It's incredibly rare. So I'd rather give you a worst case
Get it?
than try and tell you some nonsense. Go change the head gasket, and the next thing you know, you're calling next week and be like, "Well, I changed the head gasket and it's still doing it." Well, no shit, the head's smoked. You know, the thing you have to remember, and this is my experience in the last 15 years of building all these engines and owning multiple trucks. I have never, ever seen a head gasket fail independently all by itself. It's always an external event. It was an installation error or some kind of an external event happened, lost a coolant line, overheated, intake, intake air got too hot, like your EGTs got too hot, bad tune, liners dropped, something. The head gasket doesn't just fail.
Yeah. Years ago in 2019, it was a newer motor, and one of the, they run hot, and the guy wasn't picking the fan on running the hills. He got it hot and cooked it. Wound up doing a full rebuild. I just wasn't sure. It was like a weekend job, kind of quick. I wasn't sure if it was leftover shit in the filter. That's what I originally thought. So I recently been throwing a couple filters.
I mean, the thing about a coolant filter isn't really a coolant filter. It's an additive filter that puts additive into the system, you know?
Yeah. Gotcha. So it doesn't, you're saying the coolant filter doesn't filter out any stuff, that goes, no?
No, they're not for filtering the coolant. They're for putting additive into the coolant. They have hard balls of additive in them, and they just add it to it over time.
Gotcha. Yeah, it was almost like when I cut the one open a year or so ago, it was almost like tar in it,
It was like what?
It was kind of like tarry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Filter had been on there for a year and a half, going on 2 years, but
yeah, they're not a filtration element. That's not their purpose. But neither here nor there. I mean, if you're getting soot in there over and over and over again, I mean, you already know. I mean, are you having to add coolant to it?
No, it doesn't burn coolant. It doesn't. The thing runs fine. I noticed, we've got 15 trucks, and I've noticed on that one there, the filter, when I cut it open, it was pretty nasty on the inside, and one of the drivers blew a coolant line over. I fixed it and cleaned it out because I was going to reuse it, and the last 3 gallons was probably at the bottom of it, had stood all that.
Okay. So
I kind of thought the same thing.
What coolant line in the first place?
Yeah.
I'm betting you got something going on there. The head's compromised somehow. It might just be a head gasket. It's obviously possible. It's just incredibly rare.
Yep.
That you just lose a head gasket.
Gotcha. Alrighty.
All right, brother man. Sorry, go ahead.
I also got one more. I got a N14 Select, not the Select Plus. What can you do to them to juice them up a little bit? It's in one of the rollbacks. We have a flatbed. What can you do to them to juice them up fairly easy, safely?
Nothing I know that you can do to them fairly easy. You can turn them into a red top, but that's not easy.
Yeah, I watched that video you made a while back. Yeah, I'm familiar with all that. Gotcha.
I mean,
yeah, it's not
guys argue with me that you can just tune them, but
no, I'm not. I don't agree with that.
I
wind up having
you can't just tune them. It's not how it works.
Everything. Yep. No, I understand. Alrighty, I appreciate it. It was good talking with you.
All right, brother. Have a good night.
Bye.
The shittiest things about being a mechanic, even if you're just doing a call-in show, you're always the guy with the bad news, almost exclusively. So I always comment that here in the shop, that's always one of the drawbacks of just the job that we do in general, is you're always dealing with people. It's not always that you're just the bearer of bad news at all times. It's more that you're dealing with people. Everybody you're dealing with is at a crisis moment, you know, so everybody's like at the end of their rope or whatever. I mean, you get those occasional builds where a guy's planned it all out in advance and he drives it in and just is doing preemptive, but that certainly is not the bulk of the customer base that you have. So most people that you're dealing with are up shit creek without a paddle, and just one of the shittier things that nobody ever thinks about when you're the owner of a mechanic shop. Dyno coming soon. We may be having a dyno. The owner of Highway and Heavy Parts has been pressuring me like crazy to get a dyno in here. He found one. He wants to get it. He wants to put it in here. I do like that idea. And he's not asking me to give him, you know, he just wants to, he's all in on our partnership, and he really wants to put a dyno in here. And he found a badass one that can do 2 engines at the same time. It's a electromagnetic dyno. It's really cool. I just trying to figure out how we justify doing something like that, you know, take up a whole bay, which I don't even care about that. It's just, do we need a dyno? Do we build enough engines for that? He believes the answer is yes, as far as our future relationship goes. And maybe he's right, but I'm not sure. I'm going to meet up with him here in a couple days, and I figured we'd talk about it more then, but he's pretty dead set on us getting a dyno. So I want a Rottler. And that's kind of my argument with him is, you know, if we're going to invest some money, rather than invest it in a dyno, let's invest it in a Rottler where we can mill blocks and heads and stuff like that, because we hope in the near future to be getting in unfinished Cat, Cummins, and Detroit blocks and finishing them right here in house. So that's how you get around the, you know, them having patents on all that, is you get an unfinished block. It's just rough cast, then you finish it out yourself. Why would I not check the air compressor? Because there's like all kinds of things you can check, but it's never the air compressor. I don't mean to sound like an arrogant ass. And obviously, there's an exception to everything, but 99 out of 100 times that you're pressuring up your cooling system, actually, it's even more than that. It's never the compressor. It can be, but the odds of that are incredibly, incredibly small. If you want to test to see if it's the compressor, unhook the air, or you're just pinch off the hose or whatever. Sure, you can test it, but that's not going to be putting combustion gas into your system. It can pressurize your system, but not combustion gas. And he's getting all kinds of soot in his system. You're not going to get soot from the compressor. So why even waste your time? Anyway, let's go ahead and take another caller. We got quite a few callers in the queue here, guys. Looks like 7 people. The number is 573-422-4225. If you want to call in, take another caller here. Why does Cummins allow for the turbo to pump a decent amount of oil? Why does it? Maybe you meant to say, why doesn't it? Which is better, the X15 or the DD15? I got to answer that question. So if I had to go pick a truck with an X15 or a DD15, it wouldn't even be a question. I would get an X15 in a heartbeat. But that is purely because of the affordability of maintaining it and rebuilding it. If I had to pick purely on longevity, the DD15. The DD15 is consistently an over 1 million mile engine. And you can't say that about the X15. Are there X15s that make it to 1 million mile? Yes, but they're the exception. So if I was going into it to buy one engine as a single truck owner operator, boy, I'd look pretty fucking hard at that DD15. I'd tell you that. But for me personally, I'd take the X15. All right. You're on the air. Mark, hello.
Yes. The reason I called is about engine braking. One of your videos you had talked about a couple of flatbed trailers you got, and you were going to try to break in engines before they left the shop. So this is my situation. I have a 1999 377 Peterbilt with an N14 that we're doing an in-frame overhaul on, and it's going to be done here in about a week. And I'm a farmer. Wheat harvest is coming. We're going to be harvesting wheat. So we'd be pulling full loads of wheat, but then the truck will sit and idle while we're unloading the wheat. I was wondering what you would recommend for a break-in. We live about 40 miles away from a quarry. I could go down and get a load of rock. I could drive all day hauling that rock around, you know. So I'm asking for advice as far as engine break-in.
Yeah, not a problem, man. So we have broken every engine just about without exception before it left the shop, all the way since North Dakota and in Alaska for that matter. We here in North Dakota, I used a water trailer with water in it, and here in Texas, we ultimately ended up getting a bulker full. So here's kind of your rule of thumb: is you want to take it out loaded, and it doesn't have to be a fully loaded trailer. You know, it's not really about how much weight is in it. Our sand trailer is probably about 1/3 full is all. We just want a little bit of extra weight. We really use the brakes more than anything, and we'll find a decent hill, and we'll pull the hill, and it doesn't have to be super steep grade, just something that helps you work everything where you're not burning the brakes off. And I usually would like to get in like 7th over or something like that if I'm running an 18 speed. That way I'm in control, and I'll use about 10 pounds of brake, and I will work that thing really fucking hard. And the goal that you're after is to try and use about 80 to 90% of the available power working the engine. And what you want to see is that engine fan come on all by itself. You don't touch it. It comes on all by itself. You get that to happen 6, 7, 8 times, you can pretty much consider it broke in. Now, the best thing to do is to find some kind of rolling hill or good hill or something and hit that thing over and over and over again. You know, keep coming around and hitting the same one. You don't want to travel 200 miles, rolling flat and finding a hill here and there and this and that. You want to get it all done at once. So both in North Dakota and here in Texas, we may put 40 miles on it, but we're only traveling 4 miles total. Does that make sense? Or just going in a circle?
Yeah. Well, the quarry's down by the Mississippi River, and to go home, I have to crawl out of the Mississippi River bottoms up the bluff.
So you go right back down and do it again. You just keep going back down and doing it again.
It's got a Super 10 transit. So what gear you think?
Ninth gear. Ninth gear. Okay. Because you want to be able to, unless you loaded it so fucking heavy, you need to be an 8th. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I mean by not loaded too heavy. You need to be able to climb out of your. You need to be able to save your EGTs if you need to. You know what I mean? That's why I go a little lighter and use a little more brake, so I'm in control of how hard I'm working the engine. It's not I'm forced into this situation of how hard I'm working. That sense?
Yes. And so essentially, one day, if I did it one.
Yeah, if I 50 miles, 40, 50 miles, you're more looking about how many times you got it hot. Under load. So that means under good boost pressure, that engine fan's coming on, you're running 220, something like that. That's going to get the job done. And then from there, our advice we give everybody is to avoid idling it as much as possible for the first 10,000 miles. If you can pull off both those things, you probably never have a problem.
Yeah, the problem is, though, our annual mileage for farm use is between 7,000 and 10,000 miles a year. And when you haul grain to the river, a lot of times you'll have to sit in line at the river to get unloaded. You may be sitting there 3 hours or so in the wintertime. You can't really shut the truck off. You freeze to death.
Winter front.
That
idle it up. Belly tarp. Just be smart.
Yeah.
I mean, we ran in Alaska for 7, 8 years, or 9 years. It's however long. And then in North Dakota, I think 9 years in Alaska, 7 in North Dakota. It ain't that kind of cold in Mississippi. Come on now.
No, Missouri.
Well, there either, right?
Yeah.
It ain't that kind of cold
Yeah,
there either. So, you know, you got to pay attention to what your operating temp is. You know, if it's running around 160, you're doing yourself a disservice. It's that simple. You need to be up 180 or above.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
I mean, throw some
I'll put some cardboard in front of it.
You're damn right. All right, brother.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. Good luck.
Yep. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep. Bye. Oh, Jiminy Christmas. Yeah, we do have a thermostat we're coming out with. Part of what I'm doing when I go across the United States here after I go meet up with Highway and Heavy Parts, and we look at our product coming out. We're going to go straight from there. We got a 4-hour drive to go look at the people that are producing our. We're coming out with a device, you know, on the ISXs where they run so hot on the oil, and guys will go pay $4,000 for the PDI upgrade and put the dual oil cooler on, you know, and then plus you got to pay to have it installed, you know, which could be anywhere from, you know, $700 to $2,000 depending on what shop you go to. So maybe you're into it $6,000. We got a device coming out that's going to be $300 in less than a 30-minute install. That will bring your oil temperatures to where it will ride 10 degrees within 10 degrees of your coolant. We're pretty excited about it. So that's going to be coming out here really, really soon. I'll be showing you guys that over the next couple of weeks. So it's not the liners, it's the block. Oh, you must be talking about ISXs. So Charlie's on here talking to somebody about the liners and blocks. Yeah, if you guys are talking about Cummins, it's not the liner, it's the block, and it's just the way it's designed. I saw your video on that, Charlie. And, I mean, I think I did the same video, but 100%, it's the block design. You know, you call it the liner design, but it's not really the liner's fault. It's where it sits in the block's the problem. Anyway, let's go ahead and take another caller. I'm calling and find out. Oh yeah, Charlie. I figured out how to get you on the show. So I'll be probably not next week because I'll be out of town. Probably gonna have my boys do the show. But the week after that, I'll reach out to you, see if you want to do the show. I figured out how to integrate a guest on the show. You have to. I'll tell you later, but you gotta have a computer. You gotta have it set up kind of like I am. But I can integrate you into our Roadcaster and all that, and do a show with you. So you and a couple other people I really want to do a show with. So I'll be hitting you up here real soon. See if you want to come be a guest on the show. That'd be a lot of fun. If you guys don't know who Charles France is, that's Pure Diesel Repair out of North Dakota. That'd be a good time. So anyway, Cy, I think. Hello.
How's it going? I love the show.
Thank you, sir. What can I do for you?
Okay, yeah, you had talked about you had a bad experience with a DD15, and you had said you had got.
Yeah, he's streaming right now on. Or he's on our TikTok live. He moderates my TikTok for me. Really cool guy. With the guys you're looking for, that's Worldwide Diesel.
Okay,
Worldwide Diesel. Yep. I'm not sure what their number is. I don't remember numbers, but he'll put it up here on the TikTok and I'll tell you what it is. All right.
Oh man, that's awesome. I'm thanking. Good luck.
Hang on. You ready to write it down?
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
It's going to be 269 462 9260.
All right. Thank you.
All right, brother.
And by the way, I do have a 2012
with an ISX with about 1.2 million miles on it.
Okay,
Yep, and
that's
in
awesome.
2012.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not.
So they do get up there.
I know they do. We see them coming here. But you got to understand, we might do 150 ISXs in a year, and 20 of them, not even 20 of them, maybe 6 or 7 of them have made it to 1 million miles. And especially if we're talking about the first time they've been gotten into, it's unheard of almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I think usually all my trucks usually get 1 million or 900. So,
well,
all right, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
All right, brother.
And good luck with the show.
Yes, sir. Good luck with your
build.
build.
All right, you too.
Bye.
Thank you.
Well, that was an easy one. See, we're helping people. Look at us. Look at us. All right, Parker. Parker, you're on the air, brother.
Yes, sir. I had a question. Okay, I had to rebuild my motor at 704,000 miles. 70,000 miles later, I had a cracked cylinder head. I just redone my motor. Redone my cylinder head. I did a turbo conversion because my turbo got stuck open, so I got a non-VGT turbo. But I don't have the Jake power that I once had. I was trying to see how to take care of that to make my Jake stronger.
You're not going to, because that VGT turbo was your active braking. Now you're relying entirely on the Jake. If those Jake brakes were so damn important to you that you had to have them, you can go with an exhaust brake, and that is an option, right? It's not unheard of. We've had some of them here in our shop that have exhaust brakes, and it's one of the most badass devices ever. But I mean, that is a pretty big endeavor just to try and get your Jakes back. But once you delete out that VGT turbo, that's it for you and Jakes. I mean, at that point, they just make noise, and you can barely tell they're working. That's just the price you pay.
Okay. That's what I was thinking. Now, the exhaust brakes, what if something like that rang?
Oh, man. It's been 11 years since I looked at buying one. It's only been about 2 months ago since I saw one. We had a truck in here just a little bit ago that had one. But I can't remember who the hell makes them. I don't know. You'd have to look into it. I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay. I do appreciate it. I didn't realize I was gonna. When the guy told me about it, when my mechanic told me about it when he was doing my motor, I didn't know that it was. I didn't look into it. I was like, well, it was gonna be about $10,000 just to do a turbo. So, and I got the conversion from out of Bell Performance out of Pennsylvania. But I didn't know that I was my truck running strong, but I didn't know that
you were gonna lose
the
all
Jakes
your
was
Jakes.
gonna go like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he should have told you.
Yeah,
that.
otherwise I would have been. And I can't. Is there any way I can reverse it?
Yep.
It's probably too expensive to do that. It's probably best.
It'd be putting the turbo back on and fixing the tuning. But yeah, you can reverse it for sure. We reverse them all the time here, all the time.
Is there like real major
no
labor and all that? I mean, I know it's a major job, but
it's not a major job, really. It's just putting it back the way it was. And here's the thing, man. Part of the thing that kind of upsets me a little bit about everybody getting rid of their VGT turbos is the VGT turbo absolutely kicks ass. Yeah, they're a pain in the ass. But the main reason that people get rid of the VGT turbos is because when they finally blow one, the upfront cost of buying one is so astronomical. But I don't pay anywhere near that for them. So I don't know where the hell people get these VGT turbos from, but we see guys paying $8,000 and $10,000. Never. We don't pay anywhere near that. The most expensive turbo, VGT turbo that we sell here, I believe, is $4,000. It's like 3,000 something. It's not even quite 4,000. But that's like for the most expensive ones. I don't know where the guys get these prices from, but that's why so many people decide to delete their trucks away from the VGT is because of the upfront cost, but they don't cost as much as people keep getting told. So I don't know where the hell people buy them from.
Man, you about to kill me, man. Golly, I spent about 40 grand doing the cylinder head and the turbo and all that. And God, dog.
Well, a lot of people pay 40 grand to have an overhaul and don't even get a turbo out of it. So hey, you're doing better than most, right?
Man, I appreciate it. I'm in Houston. I mean, I know you're not taking any trucks right now, but boy, I'll be glad when you do.
We're taking trucks right now. I don't know. We shut down for the month of March because we got so far behind, but we're all caught up now. I think our wait list for in frames is all the way down to 2 weeks right now. You gotta remember we crank them out. So, all right, brother. Well, good luck. Okay.
All right. Hey, thank you, man.
Yep. Have a good night. Yeah, I have a lot of people recently telling me, I know you're not taking any trucks right now. I don't know where guys are getting that from, but we're putting people on our board every day. That guys are commenting that shops out here fucking drivers, dealership prices. I don't know. Shops always have charged a lot ever since I've been in trucking. But man, it's gotten bad. Some of the quotes that guys bring me to look at, which I don't know, so many people do that. I just cannot believe what people are charging. I mean, some of these in frames, and we're talking pretty basic shit here, like touching up against 50,000 for some pretty basic shit. So I don't know where guys get those numbers from. Hit the like button. I'm sure Hacknation will charge you for it. Do we buy core heads? No, man, we don't. We are sending a whole pile of them out to a company that's going to R&R them, but the only reason we're doing that is because of the tariffs. It's really not cost effective to R&R heads with the current prices of new aftermarket cylinder heads. So we certainly wouldn't go buy them. We do save them and send them out, but all right. Hello, Craig.
Yep, let me take off speak.
Okay.
How are you?
Good, man. What can we do for you?
So my question is, do you fool with marine motors at all?
Oh yeah. Yep.
My problem is I have a QSM11, which is basically a truck M11 that Cummins sells marinized.
Mm-hmm.
It's on its fourth turbo. It's third exhaust manifold and second head with 8,000 hours. And so I know I'm going to have to do something. I looked at a Cat C15, which I've heard the guys locally are running and having good luck with them, the 3406Es and the C15s. So I called a local Cat dealer and they were like, yeah, we'll rebuild it for you, $100,000. And I was like, that's insane.
Damn. Oh man.
So my I have two real questions, specific questions. One is it worth it buying Cat? And if so, if you get a Cat reman head, is it worth paying the extra $1,000 and getting the new head?
Well, I mean, I would go back to your M11, right? First of all, that's one of the most affordable engines ever built, right? That thing should be incredibly cheap to overhaul every single time you've done it. As far as the parts bill goes, for sure, right? I don't know what people are charging you for labor, but the parts for that thing are incredibly affordable. What?
Well, the problem is that to get it's a hot turbo, hot exhaust manifold, and so
okay.
it makes about 635 horsepower. If
Yeah.
you ask it to make that kind of horsepower by propping it, you know, so that you get the, you know, the fuel curve and the propeller curve to make that kind of horsepower, it won't hold up. And so that's why I was looking at the Cat, because it will. You know, the C15 marine motor makes 800, and it would make about 500 at cruise and that's what I need, about 25 gallons an hour.
Sure.
And the Cummins just won't hold up to 18, 19 gallons an hour.
Sure.
So
your real question, is it worth going to Cat? I mean,
yeah.
It's a better engine, if that's what you're asking me. I don't doubt that for a minute. Is there more affordable ways than buying $100,000 engine from Cat? Yes. For industrial engines and stuff like that, we've sold quite a few industrial engines in the past. I haven't sold any marine engines, but we have rebuilt quite a few of them. But I would, if I was going to do something like that, I would approach it the same way we do industrial engines, where you just get an on-highway engine that is affordable, like a turning core or something, and then you rebuild that back to your industrial engine or your marine engine, and then you're building something for that you're into it, 35, 45,000, something like that, instead of going out and buying $100,000 engine.
Well, that was just for the Cat dealer to rebuild it. That wasn't a new engine, because they don't make C15s anymore for the marine market. You got to buy C18.
Mm-hmm. You just make it. You make it. You make it yourself.
All right.
I would.
Well, is this number that I called the number for your shop or something that I can talk to you later offline? Next week or something.
I can give you my number. Why not? You ready?
Actually, sorry. Crap, I don't have a pen. Yes, I do. Good.
737-204-9316.
Okay. I appreciate it. So 737 or 732? Yeah, 737. All right, I really appreciate it. I like watching your show, even though it's mostly trucks, but there's a lot of crossover. So
we have three industrial engines in the shop right now. We do that kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So,
the only thing that scares me about the industrial engines is I thought that they had a different cam, and they don't tend to turn up. I needed to turn up to like 2,300.
That's not really what I mean. I just mean we don't just do on-highway engines is all I was getting at.
Okay. I got you. Cool. All right. Appreciate you taking my call.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
See you. Bye.
My boat has the Perkins engine in it. I should pull that bad boy out and drop some big ass bomb in there. That'd be awesome. Have you made more money fixing trucks than trucking? So the answer to that, the quick answer to that, it's not even close. You make way more money in trucking than you do fixing them. But you have to look at the total numbers. So disposable income, in other words, money that you get to keep. I make way more money being a mechanic than I ever made trucking. At the zenith of my trucking, we were grossing just over 200,000 a week. I don't gross 200,000 a week doing this mechanicing, not even close. But if I did, I would have a fuck ton of money. And grossing $200,000 a week in trucking doesn't mean you have a fuck ton of money, right? So disposable income, absolutely. I make way more money as a mechanic. Gross income, there's no comparison. Trucking, 10 times the amount of money. Aaron, I just had a 12.7 Detroit rebuilt, used Detroit Pistons, sent them to speed it Speed of Air had them dimpled and coated. Was wondering if you have used them and your thoughts on motor being it now. Thanks. What is my thought on Speed of Air pistons? Speed of Air Pistons and I are involved in two ventures that we're not working together, but we both use we're both using the same person for two different things. So I don't want to talk any shit about them really. I have nothing to do with them at all. They have nothing to do with me. But what I'm trying to say is we both use the same vendor for two of the products I'm developing. So I have a little bit more insight on Speed of Air than probably the average guy. And here's what I'll say. I think people that want to buy the Speed of Air stuff and pay $16,000 for a basic in-frame kit, tell them you want to see the dyno results of a side-by-side of a Speed of Air piston next to a regular piston that's been coated with the same coating that's on the Speed of Air piston. That way you can know for a fact if the dimpling makes a difference. That's what I want to see. And there's a reason I want to see that, because I already know the answer. Anyway, let's move on. Take another caller. Yeah. Hello, Steven, I think.
Oh, it's Ben.
Oh, well, close enough. I'm just kidding. What can we do for you?
Yeah. See, I got a MBN cat, and anytime I start it up, it almost takes almost an extra half a second or a second for the oil pressure to read on the gauge and the light to shut off on the dash. Mm-hmm. It'll never kill the engine, but it'll almost cut it off a little bit. Does that mean maybe my sensor or a wire from my sensor is going bad or something? It runs well, it doesn't have no issues. Just when you start it up, it doesn't matter if it's cold or hot.
There's no problem there. It takes a second.
Oh,
big deal.
Because it does start to almost choke the engine off, but then it doesn't choke the engine off, if that makes sense.
Not really. No, it doesn't make sense.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it'll fire up, and like I said, it's a split second where it'll almost act like it's about to die because the oil light comes on, but then the sensor reads that there's actually oil pressure there, and right before it actually kills it, it goes back to idling like normal.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you got going on there, but it doesn't sound like it's anything you need to be alarmed about. As long as you have oil pressure, it's not a problem.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, brother. Bye. Back over to the Speed of Air topic. Charlie said he can say what he wants, and I can't. Actually, I can say whatever I want. I'm just, the forge that's making my rings also makes their rings. One of the things that makes Speed of Air in the medium duty special is the ring pack that they have. And the ring pack that is being built for me for heavy duty applications is the same people that make their rings, right? It's not like I'm making the rings. Nobody's that dumb. Nobody thinks that. There's not a lot of forges in the United States. So it's not surprising that we ended up at the same juncture. And I happen to be involved with the same people that coat their stuff. Okay. So those are the two things I'm affiliated, or not affiliated with them, but how I've got to know a little bit about them and their products and stuff that they're doing. And just take it for what it is. I'm just not that guy that wants to shit on anybody. But before you buy Speed of Air, people need to demand that they do a side-by-side comparison of a coated piston that's a ceramic coated piston next to the ceramic coated dimpled piston. and see if there's a difference, because I know the answer to that. They're not going to do that test for you guys because you'll just go buy coated pistons. That's why. Okay. Yeah, you can't have instant oil pressure. Yeah, I didn't really get that caller's problem there either. But anyway, Matthew, what can we do for you, brother?
Hey, I got a 2001 W900 with a 6NZ and a 13-speed.
Mm-hmm.
And I drive that thing by sound and feel. And I don't know if my gauge is just off, but when I told my buddy that I'm shifting at like E19, sometimes depending on grade 2000, he looked at me like I committed murder. Like, just shocked.
Oh, good on him.
And I'm over here. Am I doing wrong? Hurt to my engine? Because if I try to shift at like 15 or 1600, it grinds like a motherfucker.
Then there's something wrong. Then,
like,
I mean, okay. I'm gonna try not to insult you.
And like I said, I go by sound, and it sounds fine. Nothing sounds like I'm ruining anything.
Okay, but grinding has nothing to do with your engine. It has everything to do with your transmission, and that has everything to do with the guy driving the truck. You're not shifting fast enough, but 1600 should be the top end that you see on that. Are you going to kill it going to 17 and 18? No. Are you going to reduce the longevity of the valve train and stress out the rocker arms? Absolutely. Are you going to be more prone to breaking rocker arms on a truck that's been ran up there continuously? 100%. Ask me how I know. I owned a shit ton of cats. My guys that wouldn't listen to me would break rocker arms all the fucking time. In fact, it was so bad that I got to the point where I started putting a limiter where they couldn't rev the engine over 1600 RPMs. I got so fucking tired of them breaking my rocker arms. So, and Cat recommends 1600 and under. Their recommendation right there in their owner's manual tells you not to take it over 1600. So,
gotcha. See, because when I Googled it, it says 1800 or 2100, and I'm like, that should be fine.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
but that's fucking Google, you know.
Right.
So that's why I called you.
Yep.
So,
if you're having a hard time shifting, man, you just need to practice a little more or something. I'm trying to say it some way without talking shit to you, but I mean, I'm not trying to talk shit.
No, you're good. No, you're good. My thing is just like I shift completely fine. I don't know if my RPM gauge is just off, and that's just what it's reading. I don't know, but like
that could be. It's pretty simple.
You know,
get somewhere where there's a computer and check it real quick.
Okay. All right, because my other buddy, he has a W900. He has a 3406 in it. He's like pre-ELD, and I have a 550 tune. He has a 475 tune, and I mean I shift his the same as mine. He has an 18 speed in it, which is just the same way. I guess I haven't driven his in a while to read his RPMs, but I go off the sound and feel, and that's what it was feeling the best at.
Yeah. Well,
and if you're saying that's wrong, then I'm gonna check it.
It is a fact that if you take it up to 2200 RPMs, you're going to have an easier time shifting. I don't doubt that, right? But that's why I'm saying you just need to get a better feel for your truck and shift. Just get better with it. You know what I mean?
Alrighty.
All right, brother.
All right, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Yep. Bye. So over the comment section again, real quick here. Cat industrial engine running 1900 all day. Is that an issue? No, it's not. The engine was actually built for that. That's the thing you guys got to understand is your on-highway engine is a variable torque engine. It's meant to run at all these different RPMs and be optimal there. That's why a C15 is usually regulated to about 550 horsepower on the top end. And you can have that same engine be an industrial application, and it can build 800, 900 horsepower because it has a known set RPM, and they built the whole engine around that. So running an industrial engine 1900 all day long is not hurting it. It's not the same thing. It's not the same application. It wasn't built the same or anything like that. Yeah, I could compare the speed of air coated pistons if I had two dynos. Yeah, that double dyno, that's kind of why it's so appealing, is we could do two engines back to back. We kind of wanted to do an ACERT and a 640 if we do get this dyno, but yeah, I would never do a comparison on speed of air pistons because there's no way in fucking hell I'm going to pay $16,000 for a basic in-frame kit. The fuck out of here with that. What a joke. Well, we have a quote in the office here. It's either 14 or 16,000 they want for their basic in-frame quick kit. We had them give us a quote and printed it off just for fun. God damn. You know, they tried that on rotary engines on bombers in World War II. That's where the idea came from. The idea just kind of didn't go anywhere because, you know, and the idea obviously is it's not for less contact. The idea is the same reason that you put dimpling on a golf ball. If you don't understand that, then Google dimpling on a golf ball. It has to do with the aerodynamics of a sphere. Your piston is not a sphere. In fact, it's very far from it. It is a flat surface. Yeah, the science is not there for it. Okay. All right, let's take another caller. Am I saying it's okay to pull a cat down to 1300 for a long time? Depends on the cat, depends on the situation. I used to pull my ACERT down to 1100 and would let it hang there if I needed to in a hard pull. If I had a super bulker on, 5-axle super bulker, and loaded 113,000 with sand, and I'm almost to the top of the hill, and I'm gear bound in, say, third direct, you know, I mean, I'm not going for second, right? And if she comes all the way down to 1300 as I'm cresting out, you know, and I have to hang there for a whole minute and a half, 2 minutes, I don't give a shit. I'm going to stay right there. Try putting it instead of cat industrial equipment injectors in a road tractor. It's not okay. All right. You're on the air. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. First name, Heiko. Thank you for taking my call, man.
Yes, sir.
I don't watch the show a lot, but I watch Facebook. I like what you're doing. Couple quick questions. I'm a trucker for over 25 years. Anyways, I used to have 6NZ, 13 speed, but, you know, they are on the wrong truck, the T2000, you know. I love the engine. I love the gone. That was a money situation. I got engine 2019. I sit home, dispatch people doing a drive-in. Right now, I have a truck I bought a few years ago, 95 FLD, M11, Super 10, 40-11 ratio. So, what do you think? That truck, because I'm a flatbed, step deck, steel hauler, and I had the authority on a sleeper for a couple of years. I'm thinking about coming back, hopefully, you know, because the business was down. So I took myself off the road for a little bit. So what do you think about that truck? Then I want to ask you, because are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I want to double check because I was listening to the other guy. Your phone number 737-204-9316.
Yep, that's my number. Well, that's the office number.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
That's our office number. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And I'm sorry. First name. If I call, who I'm asking for? Because I'm looking for a truck and I need the right truck for me. And you know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for 99, 98.
That's something.
Paper log truck with.
So if you called that number and tried to ask that question, you would never make it to me. That is the job of the people that answer the phone here. Is they would never let you talk to me. If you need to talk about an engine, or or giving you a consultation on coming here, this show is for questions like that, right? And to answer your question, it's pretty simple. You have to look at the job that you're doing and buy the truck according to the job, right? If you're a fuel hauler, and
That's what I need your help with.
right, right.
Yes,
So
sir.
an M11 is obviously a horrendously underwhelming engine as far as the power is concerned. So if you're hauling fuel, I thought I heard you say something about hauling fuel. You're going to be one miserable son of a bitch hauling fuel.
No. I haul steel. No, right now I haul fuel for a company, but I haul steel. Like I'm a flatbed, dead deck driver,
And so that comes down
Yeah,
to
so I haul steel.
Right. Are you hauling in Montana and Colorado or Idaho?
No. I'm out of Detroit. So what I do? No. What I used to do, like before I got engine 2019, I was stick with. I'm out of Detroit to stick with the Midwest. Then the rate went down. I used to go to Texas, but the rate went down. I heard right now start picking up a little bit. So usually I'm lazy, like Midwest, a little bit Ohio, a little bit PA, and come back. I don't go a lot, like east or way far west. Back in the time, we used to make good money, like hauling pipes from Houston, going all the way to North Dakota and all that stuff. Not right now. So basically, I'm a Midwest. Or maybe in and out Texas, depends on the rate, So I'm based out of Detroit.
Yeah, so that M11.
So I'm Detroit,
M11 probably
Michigan.
work fine for you.
Okay, with the Super 10, even with the 4:11 ratio, so I gotta stick with 60, 65 speed max for the RPM for the 4:11 ratio.
I don't know, man. These are the kind of
The high ratio, right?
These are the kind of questions that I don't like to answer for people, because I'm basically giving people life advice, right? And there's too many variables for me to answer that question. It sounds like you're already answering the questions for yourself, right? So you obviously know enough to make an educated decision. So these are decisions that you have to make by yourself, and it's very obvious that you're competent enough to do that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now the second one, I want to buy the good truck for me, and I want to ask you if you selling trucks. And
No,
that's why I called.
No, I don't mess around with selling trucks. I don't want nothing to do with
So
that.
you don't sell trucks?
No.
Okay.
No.
So you just fix it.
Yeah. All right, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Good luck.
Yes, sir.
Bye. No, I don't sell trucks. A lot of people call me and ask me if I have any trucks for sale. I don't know why. I never advertise I'm selling truck. Hacknation, the therapist. Goddamn. Oh, that was funny. But we are getting 4 trucks together. 2 of the guys that work for me own trucking companies when they started working here, and they parked their trucks, but we are fixing theirs up and to make them available for guys that are in a pinch. And we're going to start leasing those 4 trucks out to guys that just, are in a bad spot and have to have a truck. I don't make anything off of it. I'm just getting it set up with their 4 trucks. So if a guy comes in and, and he has to have a truck, or he's going to lose his house and everything else, we're going to have a truck available. So we're pretty excited about that. We're going to have 4 trucks to lease out to people that have engines being worked on here. That should be really cool. So we got that in the mix as well. The call-in number, guys, is... Wait a minute. Yeah, we have almost a whole hour left. The call-in number, guys, is 573-422-4225. If you're watching on TikTok, we encourage you to go over to Facebook or YouTube. Not that we don't appreciate you watching on TikTok, but you can hear the caller if you're watching it on Facebook or YouTube. So we encourage you to go over there. If you don't know what this is Hacknation Live. I'm your host, Aaron Bennett. We do this every Wednesday night from 7 to 9. We've had a few special guests. We hope to have more in the future. We've learned how to integrate guests, so we'll probably have quite a few more in the future. But this is the reason I do this, is to give people an opportunity to ask me questions, because throughout the week, dozens and dozens of people will call our offices and they're just trying to ask me what truck they should buy, which, believe it or not, is the most common phone call we get. Blows my mind. You know, you want to call and ask that here, that's fine. But working hours at the shop is probably not the best time. So, and this is a good forum to try and help people avoid coming to shops by helping people figure out what their problems are. And we get all kinds of people in the comments helping out. We get some heavy hitters in the comments that know what they're doing. And so it ends up being a really good venue for people to solve problems and us all to come together in the trucking world. So that's what this show's about. Let's go ahead and who is this Linda James? And how do you ban people? Okay, block user. You're gone. There we go. Yeah, I learned how to ban people. Linda, you gone. So they're inbox me. Holy shit. We got a lot of callers now. All right, let's burn through some callers. Josh, you're on the air, buddy.
Hey, how's it going? Little backstory is I got a ISX15 2350 about a year ago. I don't know if the callers are aware, but on my specific engine, my air compressor is routed to the intake before the turbo. What I was having was I was getting oil spin back into my turbo, and I thought my turbo was going out. Come to find out, it was my air compressor was going out. So I replaced the air compressor, and it's been about a good, 9 months since I've done that. But now I deleted the intake of the air compressor going to the turbo, and I have it open up to the atmosphere with a filter on it. Now I'm getting a bunch of oil spinning out of the intake of the air compressor. I know I'm due for a rebuild. I'm wondering if you think, because of I'm getting a lot of blow by, that whenever I get on the actual engine pretty hard, I'm getting more and more oil coming out of the intake from the air compressor. I'm wondering if you think it's because I need a rebuild, or just the air compressor took a shit.
So you're like, your air dryer is filling up with oil?
No, not the air dryer. For the actual intake of the air compressor, the oil's actually spinning out backwards, if that makes sense. On the air dryer side, there is a little bit of oil buildup in the air dryer, but I've just been draining the tanks every day, and nothing ever seems to accumulate there.
No.
Or if I look at all, throughout.
It won't make it to the tanks. It won't make it past the air dryer usually. I mean, it can make it to the tanks.
Yeah.
It typically won't. But if you're spitting oil out of your air dryer and getting oil pushed back up on your intake, and you have it fresh air intake, then that air compressor is probably just, it has its own little cylinder head and pistons and all that. And it's probably, you probably need to replace that thing.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I was thinking about doing that. Of course, they're pretty pricey. And I noticed that this has started happening now, that whenever I start getting, I start pushing the engine, I was thinking maybe by chance, because I need a rebuild, I'm getting a lot of boost pressure towards the air compressor and spitting out the oil, but I wasn't too sure.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Somebody said dirty air filter will draw a suction and pull oil into the intake. But he has his going fresh air, so, which I'm not sure is the most advisable.
Yeah, fresh air, and then it's fresh air, and I have like these little filters that I bought out of O'Reilly's that I put on there. And even if I put one of those on, like maybe 1 or 2 days, it's already full of oil again.
Yeah, that compressor is probably no good.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, that was my question. I'm glad you answered it for me.
Well, kind of, but good luck. Okay, brother.
Kind of. All right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep. Bye. Thanks for hooking us up with highway and heavy parts. OEM head gasket was 1,700. They were 600. What is, man? Great partners too. I can't wait till we drop our products together. Do we offer financing? Yeah, the gals have something set up. They have some kind of financing. Some people do it. I think we finance up to 10,000 or something. I'm not sure how it all works. I try to stay out of that kind of stuff. Got enough stuff going on without doing the office administrative type stuff. Would you recommend an older truck, 2009 or older? I have never owned a truck older than 07. So obviously I have a personal bias there. But the thing you have to remember when you have when you're buying older trucks is you're not just looking at the engine. You need to be looking at how clapped out the rest of it is. You could be buying yourself a big old problem. All right. I think David, maybe. Hello, you're on the air.
What's that? What's happening? How's it going?
Good, man. What's your name?
Hey, first time caller, long time listener. I just want to let you know that you've helped me out of a few jams, watching your videos and stuff. But the reason I'm calling, I'm running a 07 W9 with a 6NZ in it, which is a transplant motor. And I have what appears to be like that I guess would be like the dreaded spacer plate up there towards the front cover, tucked in behind the air compressor. And I'm pretty sure I already know the answer, but I didn't know if there was any recourse, anything I can do with that other than just tearing it down.
What engine is it again?
6NZ cat.
And you're weeping around the spacer plate?
Yeah, especially up towards the front, right behind where the head, the front cover meet, and the block, right back tucked in behind the air compressor. That's where I'm getting my most oil from.
Well, I mean, so if it's your spacer plate weeping, you shouldn't see active oil running. You should see like weepage, like when it gets dusty out, you notice that this thing's actually weeping because now you have dust clinging to the side of your engine. You know what I mean? If you have active oil,
okay,
if you're actively,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
If you're actively leaking oil, that's probably not the spacer plate. It's probably your camshaft pass through, especially if it's up there in the front, or your structure's leaking, or something like that's going on. It's probably not that spacer plate.
Okay, so that would be up in that front cover area.
Yep, I would go after that camshaft pass through. That has a couple different O-rings on it. Probably what's causing your problem. I mean, if you're leaking, leaking oil, that's not the spacer plate.
Okay, I just assumed it was a spacer plate because I knew I'd done some reading that most of the oil returns right through that area right there, and I just figured that was would be a known culprit. You know what I mean? I didn't know anything about those O-rings up in there.
I mean, if you were compromised enough, you were pouring oil out between the spacer plate, you got some big problems, right? I just seriously doubt that's what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's not pouring oil. It's just, I don't know. I guess I'm anal retent of it. Any oil is just, I got to fix it. You know what I mean? I can't stand oil leaks. So I thought it was, of course, I replaced the compressor, and that fixed, the compressor was leaking like a sieve, and that fixed a lot of it, but I'm still getting some, like, residual mist type oil and stuff like that back in there. It's not a ton. I'm not pouring oil, but I've got oil.
Yeah. I mean, is it wet oil? Like, is it washing, or is it dirty because the dirt clings to it? You know what I mean? Or is it fresh oil?
It's right at what I would describe as right between an oil mist and almost like leaking cooling oil. It's not quite there yet, but it's like a heavy mist is the best way I can describe it.
Yeah, it's probably not the spacer plate, man. Of course, it could be, but probably not. I would,
Okay.
It's a lot easier fix to go after something else. You need to get it to the site and see.
Exactly.
Get it, be able to discover quite a bit more.
Okay. Well, like I said, I'm glad because like I said, I've your advice, and you've saved my keister a couple times already on this motor. So that's why I wanted to call it RH, man.
Yep. Well, I appreciate that, man. That's why we're doing this.
All right, man. Well, we'll go to work with the flashlight then. I appreciate your time.
A can of brake clean and drive it around in a flashlight will probably save you thousands.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep. Later, brother. You know, usually when guys bring trucks to our shop, we can figure out where they're leaking from within a few seconds. But if you can't figure it out, that's always the answer. Brake clean off everything really good till there's no oil left. Run it for a little bit. Use a good flashlight, and you can pinpoint her almost every time. Your thinking face is hilarious. Is that there adding or subtracting? Hello, you're on the air.
Hey, how's it going? My name's Wesley. I've been watching your stuff. I got a quick question. I got a X15 2450, and I had an overhead run on it about a month ago, and everything was fine except number one, exhaust was real tight, and then number 6 was real tight on the exhaust and the intake. And I was wondering, is that a future problem with a cam, or am I getting some carb buildup or anything like that? What would cause number 6 and number 1 to be so out of whack? Or
Whoever ran the overhead last?
well, it could be. It was the same guy. I do an overhead yearly, basically every 100,000 miles or every May. You know, and I'm just curious. I'm kind of concerned that I might get carbon buildup only because when I first got the truck, I did nothing but Texas Panhandle to the Rocky Mountains. You know, back and forth, 600 miles a day. Engine stayed hot, stayed at running temperature that it's supposed to be. But now they moved me down into an area where I'm doing short distance stuff. And I'm talking like, 5-8 miles, drop off the load. And there might be 3 or 4 loads of that a day, just 3-4 miles, stop, unload, and then you're done for the day. It's not like I'm doing even 400 miles anymore a day. And I'm getting worried that if would carbon buildup make it that tight on the rack?
No, not really. No. What carbon buildup will do is show up as damage on your camshaft and on your pin and rollers. And that's because as the pistons come up, they'll actually touch and put pressure back. But they're not going to change your lash settings when you're running the rack.
Okay.
I
was going to go back in 6 months.
Yeah, somebody said the valve seats sink in, but that would give you the opposite problem. Yours are too tight, not too loose. Well, I guess that would make them too tight.
I told him I'd go back and see.
Seats were wearing out, that would make them too tight. But I mean, I highly doubt it. I highly doubt your valve seats are wearing out. I mean, it's possible. Of course, it's possible. But
I've only got 317,000 miles on it.
Yeah, I mean, my guess would be that the guy that's running your overhead is not doing a good job. That's the most likely scenario.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now,
I was going to go back in 6 months and run it again.
I mean, why don't you have somebody run it?
The injectors, because I had the year model that had the batteries, the Vargas, and then of course they were DP paranoid, thinking, "Oh my God, did it do something else?" And,
sure. I mean, I wouldn't go tearing stuff apart until you've have somebody else run the rack and see if you have the same problem. That's the most likely scenario.
Gotcha. That's fair enough. Like I said, I listened to your stuff on this carbon buildup, and I got an emissions motor, so I'm like, well, crap.
Yeah, your
You know,
carbon
it's like-
buildup's
but-
your carbon buildup's really going to show up on your valve train more than anything else.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
Well,
All right, brother.
that
Well,
was
good luck.
well. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Bye.
Bye.
Do you mind repeating the question the caller asked so we can hear it too? All you have to do is go to Facebook or YouTube. We're streaming live there. You can hear the caller if you're watching over there, guys. So we're trying to figure out a way to integrate TikTok. We don't have any way to do that currently. Another guy asked, what do I daily drive to work? For personal vehicles, man, for my entire family, my wife, myself, I will only buy Toyotas. That was the only vehicle I will spend my money on is a Toyota. You cannot get me to buy anything else. I have no interest in anything else. Toyota is by far and away the best investment of your money. They retain their value. And I have put millions of miles on Toyotas, and I've never had one that I didn't sell eventually. I've never had one take a shit on me, ever. Never had one take a shit on me. I always sell them, 250, 300,000 miles on them, still running just like one of the day I bought them, and sell them and get another one. So, are you tooled up for PACCARs? Yes, sir, we are. We have actually done quite a few PACCARs. We feel pretty comfortable doing them now. Yeah, we only do from 13 to 17. I'm not interested in doing any of the ones after that. Those ones have a lot more problematic. I just don't want nothing to do with them. But we do a lot of PACCARs, so the answer is yes. And we have a lot of callers here, so we're gonna burn through some of them. Hello, you're on the air. Brock.
Hi, Aaron.
Yeah.
Hey, got a question. Got a question about a 98 Peterbilt with a 3406E in it. And my question is, every once in a while, I mean, it's really random, where it doesn't matter if it's cold or warm. I might turn a corner going straight down the road, it'll just start like billowing white smoke out of it, and it'll kind of stumble, fall on its face, and in maybe 2 seconds, 10 seconds, it just clears up, goes away, runs fine. I mean, it might do it once a month, might do it once every 6 months. No one can really give me a good answer on it.
Intermittent problems like that are always a bitch for sure. There's just too many things it can be. You could have an electrical problem, that you turn the wrong way or whatever, and it gives you some kind of problem. You could have a grounding problem. You could have corrosion in your harnesses. It could be your return line check valve has shit in it, and at the right time it just cuts your, doesn't let you hold enough pressure back. You could have a bad injector. You could have faulty wiring harness internally, injector harness. The first question, of course, a guy should ask is, are you getting any check engine lights when it happens?
I don't see any. I mean, I think it's a couple times where it's flashed a check engine light, but then, of course, as soon as it quits and it goes away. And it's got 2 million miles on the truck, but it's had 2 overhauls done to it, and that truck's clean. I mean, zero rust, and it's been taken care of. But yeah,
if you're getting a check engine light when it's happening, you're probably dealing with an internal harness.
Okay. That's what I'd kind of, I mean, it's probably at the point where, it could be due for a set of injectors. And I thought maybe that if we were to have that done again, maybe just do the whole wiring harness inside, and hopefully it would take some of the demons away.
It's not expensive. The internal harnesses these days are very reasonable. Cat started making them in Mexico a while back, quite a few years ago, and the price of them has just gone down to they're just ridiculously affordable compared to what they used to be. For that engine, you should probably be paying about $250 for the internal harness. I pay as little as $175. It's probably what I would end up paying for that one. You know what I mean? But we also do
Oh, nice.
a couple $1 million a year with
If we were,
so
if we were to do injectors on that, I mean, we'd try to stay with Cat OEM, or would you recommend like PDI?
So OEM injectors are absolutely remanned all the fuck, and you got to remember that any injector you buy for that's 20 years old. And here's the thing you guys got to remember: is anybody that's advertising a new injector is really full of shit. If you want a new injector, a brand new injector, you have to buy it from Cat, because any brand new injector that comes out has to pass all the EPA stuff that that any injector would have to pass. And like all these guys, I'm not going to say any names, but there are some big names out there that have recently been claiming that they have brand new injectors. They're fucking lying. Okay. The closest thing to a brand new injector that I know of is getting ready to be released by us in a couple of weeks. And that thing is like 98%, 98% new injector body. Nobody's doing that. New injector body, new solenoid, basically new everything. But there has to be a few parts in it that are not new. Otherwise, you are selling a new injector and you have to go through all the hoops of the EPA, right? So if you want a brand new injector for reals, you have to buy one from Cat, and you better have some really fucking deep pockets. So
understandable.
Right now, the closest thing you can get to brand new, in my opinion, is you have to either buy from PDI. They have the closest thing to a brand new injector, or you have to buy from Highway and Heavy Parts, their Black Series injectors. That's the two options you have for as close as you're going to get. And do some price shopping. You'll end up going with Highway and Heavy Parts.
Okay. You said about in a few weeks or something you might be coming out with them, you said?
We'll be coming out with some, but Highway and Heavy Parts Black Series injectors kick ass. And just get some from them if you don't want to wait.
Yep. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's just kind of a, it might bring it in the shop this winter and just kind of have it done. It doesn't, like I said, it's not very often it does it. It could be once a month, could be once every 6 months.
Yeah,
so.
it's probably not the injectors, but so like the Highway and Heavy Parts is making our injector. I've went there to their facility and been a part of all that. And we've even released some video of us there with them doing that. And that's what we're going to do for our line, is we're going to have new injector bodies. So they're going to be as new as they can possibly, right up against the edge of brand new.
All right. Yeah, sounds great.
Yep. All right, brother.
Yeah. I think you answered my question, and I appreciate your time and love your show.
Yep. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too. See you, man.
Bye. We managed to keep almost every caller under 3 minutes. It's a first for us. Usually get those 5 to 8 minute callers, but this has been a good night. Hi, you're on the air.
Hello. Thank you for taking my call. Just check in to get your opinion. Looking at buying a glider kit with either a 12.7 Detroit or a Caterpillar, 2WS or older, and just checking to see what your opinion is. I watched a YouTuber, probably know if I mentioned the name. He hauls boats, and he really likes his Detroits, but I've noticed they have a lot of ECM problems, turbo, cam sensor, water pump problems, those head problems. I was wondering, is it worth the headache to get a Detroit or just get a Cat?
Every engine has its own unique problems, and they usually come down to the guy that's maintaining it. And so you really have to look at your application. Detroit 60 series Detroits, they're the undisputed king of longevity. Cats are very famous for having longevity as well, but if we're just going by the metric of longevity, 60 series Detroits are the king of the mountain. There's no doubt about it. So, I mean, if that's all you're looking for, and the other thing that's nice about the 60 series Detroits is they're incredibly affordable to overhaul and to work on and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, I just looking at some of the glider kits on truck paper. It seems like some of the ones that come across quite a few that they have 300,000 miles. It was overhauled, and it's like, oh my gosh, 300,000 on an overhaul. That seems to be premature. 400,000. Then I hear or read other trucks that have 600 to 1 million miles without an overhaul. So I just don't understand the rhyme or reason why are some less than 300 to 400,000 need an overhaul versus some less than 1 million.
So it has everything to do with the guy that owns the truck. Either he's poor at maintenance or he has cranked the thing to the moon and he's grenading it all by himself, guaranteed. The Detroit 60 series engine is a 1 million+ mile engine every damn time if it's taken care of. And as one of the guys in the comments just said, he actually works here. He's my friend, Andrew. The big plus on the 60 series is the fuel mileage they get. You're going to get 7 miles of the gallon, something like that. You're not going to get anywhere near that with your cat. That's not going to happen.
Okay. Well, I certainly thank you for your time and have a good day.
All right. Good luck. Bye. One commenter said I have 7. What the heck? Man, it's so laggy. I'm sorry about the lag, guys. I can't really do anything about it. I have a 12.7 series doing random white smoke and stutter, and it was a timing position sensor. Don't know if that's applicable for cat. Yeah, it can be applicable for any engine, but that gentleman wasn't throwing white smoke. He just throws a little blue smoke now and again, and it stutters on him. You never have to change oil in a Detroit because they leak more than you put in. We rebuild a lot of fucking Detroits here, a lot of Detroits, and we don't have that problems with them. Guys don't come back to us 3 years later and it's just pouring oil all over the place. So I don't know and I get what you're saying when we see a lot of old Detroits coming here and it seems like they put more oil on the ground than you put in them. But I don't know why that is, because we rebuild them all the time. We do a lot of out of frames on Detroits. We have 3 out of frames going on right now, 60 series Detroits. And we fully expect them at this point not to have those problems because we don't see them having those problems. So I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I don't think that there's, I don't think it's just a given that your Detroit's supposed to do that, because we build them all the time and don't have that problem. Even, 3-4 years later, we'll see guys. And so, do we work on D13 Volvos? No, we don't. Diesel B says, but the cat's going to blow his doors off. That is a fact. That is one of the drawbacks of like the 12.7 is you just don't have the displacement you have on those C15s. Yeah, you're going to use some more fuel, but you'll blow the doors off that 60 series. Hi, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Hello?
Yep, it's you.
Hey, this is Ron. I'm up here in Montana. I want to pull. Is it a stupid idea to pull my ACERT out of my truck, out of my 2005, and put a 3406E in it?
Well, first of all, it's not technically legal to do that, so I have to be kind of careful how I answer you, right? But if you want my honest opinion, take the tiptoe part out of it. I wouldn't do something like that. First of all, the ACERT's a way better engine. Second of all, it's always much more affordable and cost effective and fiscally smarter to fix what you have than just to repower something willy-nilly. There's arguments that people make that something like your 5EK is going to get better fuel mileage than that ACERT. There is validity to that argument, but we're talking half points here, right? We're not talking like massive fuel savings. We're talking very minimal. It would take you years to offset the cost of doing something like that.
The reason I was thinking about it, and I'll be honest, that when I bought the truck, they told me I had a rebuild. Whoever rebuilt that engine, that Acer engine, did a really shitty job. And I just want to put that motor in until I can afford to rebuild the Acer.
So you already have a 5EK?
So I can stay on the road. Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're going to run into some problems there too, because you're going to have to get an external processor. And you're going to run into problems, man. You're going to run into problems. I'll tell you that. You're going to have to.
So is it just better to make an appointment with you, with you guys, and bring the truck and motor down and see if you guys can fix it and run it, leave the 5EK in my old truck and just run that while that one's getting fixed?
I would, yes. I mean, yes to the part that I wouldn't pull that engine out and swap them. Not necessarily yes to the part you should bring it to me. I try not to sell myself on here. You know,
I know,
I mean, but
you guys worked on my trucks before.
Oh, okay.
When you were in North Dakota.
Oh, okay.
That's why I would bring it back to you.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. But I mean, you know,
You worked on my 5EK in North Dakota.
so you probably have my personal number.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you just shoot me a text tomorrow, and I'll talk to you about what you got going on. I might have some ideas for you how you can get that Acer back together for minimal cost. You know.
And I've been following you since I found you guys again through another friend.
Cool.
And I thought you guys just fell off the face of the earth.
Well,
because I went to your old shop here about 6 months ago and nobody was there.
Right on. Well, you found us.
Yes, I did. And I know you ain't going to bullshit me on what to do with my truck.
Yeah, well, just get up with me
I know
tomorrow.
that flat out.
Just shoot me a text tomorrow. The next day, I'll call you right back. It's hard to get a hold of me if you just call me. And then I'll just ask you what you got going on, and you know, maybe I can help you fix it without even having to see you.
Yeah, because the outfit I bought, it's a beautiful truck.
Sure.
That I bought. It just, I can't keep boosting it. It leaks oil so bad, and it keeps blowing where the blow by is on the valve cover off.
Oh wow!
And I stuck my last dollar in buying the truck.
Sounds like it has a broken ring or two or something.
It won't even build air properly.
Yeah.
If I don't leave it, the RPM's up to 12 to 1300. It won't build air.
Well, that's probably unrelated to everything. Well, it might not be.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, give me a call and.
But I'll give you a text tomorrow.
Sounds good, man. I'll talk to you then.
Thanks, Aaron.
Yep. Have a good night and good luck.
Yep. You too.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, you know, when you're going from a 40 pin to a 70 pin like that, or a 120 pin, it's not a plug and play deal there, guys. You're gonna have to have a harness made. You're gonna have to have an external processor. Those are expensive as hell. I get smoking deals on them, but yeah, you know, you can pay up to $3,000 for those external processors. You know, the whole adventure is really expensive when you're trying to go with those older engines and put them in place of where a newer one was. So I try to talk guys out of doing stuff like that, because a lot of guys don't understand what they're getting into there. And by the time they're all said and done with it, fuck, they're so far buried underneath their own truck, you know, in expense that it was never worth doing it. So where were we at in North Dakota? We were located in Ross, North Dakota, right there by Stanley, when we were there. Yeah, custom truck. That's who I use for everything like that, harnesses and processors, and I can't lie, custom truck treats me really well, which we pass those savings on to our customers. So if we're doing custom truck stuff for you, it's definitely a good deal, but it doesn't change the fact it's expensive. So switch back to green cool. What's this? Some guy in here keeps saying he reached out to Highway and Heavy Parts and they didn't get an answer. My advice to you, my friend, would be to call them. I never email them or anything. I never have. I always call them. It's always a great experience if you're on the phone with them. That's my answer to. I've seen you comment a few times there. You definitely want to. Who's this Hacknation LLC? That's got to be some copycat. But anyway, give them a call. That's what you need to do. You'll get a whole different response if you call them. Yeah, green coolant's garbage, guys. Don't be putting green coolant in your truck. It's not solving any problems. I'm not privy on what the conversation is there that you guys are having, but I see somebody talking about how they switched back to green coolant. That's never a good idea. All right. Hello, Ashley.
Yeah, hi. How are you doing?
Good, man. What can I do?
Well, I'm up here in Idaho, and I live in Kansas, and I had a guy rebuild the truck down there at a shop. I'm not going to say because there might be a lawsuit, but 28,000 miles later, I had a load of cows on coming up Klamath, running about 950 on the pyro, and all of a sudden it started blowing oil out of the valve cover. And so we got it back home, got it tore apart, and come to find out it had a hole in number 4 piston. Well, we had the injectors tested. They were in intermediate. They were overfueling. So we don't know. He swears up and down he got this kit from Interstate McBee. I have a brand new kit laying on the ground. We just got in this week from Interstate McBee, another kit. But on this kit, on the liners, the guy that was working on it, he works at Cummins part-time, or he works at Cummins full-time, works on the side. And he went to pull the liners out, and they just pulled out. There was no 28,000 miles. The liners all look like they got 600,000 on them. The bearings look like they've got 1 million miles on them. There's no part numbers on the liners. And I'm looking at the beat up parts right now, and the O-rings are pink. Some of them look purple. I don't know what's going on here, but is that something that came from Interstate McBee, or did he lie to us?
This is what kind of engine? Just to make sure.
X15 Cummins.
Yeah, your X15 Cummins has a pink O-ring, I believe. If you're dealing with an X15, this is way past the time when you have a possibility of having 2 different size liners. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the rings. What do you think, Nicole? Do you think they look pink or purple on here? I'm looking at them. Some of them look purple. Some of them look pink.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just know that he pulled the lines out by hand.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
HHP pistons black
No.
when they're brand new, because these are
No.
okay. Then these ain't HHP. Nope. Okay.
No.
So let me ask you this: is it a possibility that he just threw my old liners in, threw my old pistons in, and just put new rings on it and said, "There you go. There's your rebuild"?
Man, that is huge speculation on my part, right? Of course, it's possible. It sounds like that's something that may have happened there. But you're asking me to just wildly speculate, so you know.
No, I get it. And then like the like on an X15, it don't take no shims. It had just one shim on it, so it was running cockeyed. So I had a lot of gear chatter. And the piston cooling nozzles, you can tell. I mean, they are just black. Like you can, some of them's even melded. Like you can just tell that they were not replaced.
Well,
so
As long as they're doing their job, you know, you can't really blame it on the piston cooling nozzles. But your liner O-ring on those is pink, and the liners come they're silver, so to speak, right? They look like the silverware in your drawer. They're not black, and all of the O-rings are uniformly pink. So I'm not sure what you have going on there.
Yep. Yeah, these pistons are black, like what comes in a Cummins kit, because from factory they're black. And then the kit that we looked at up at Caldwell Kenworth, they were black too. Brand new pistons were black.
Oh, I thought you were saying
he
the
must have
liners
just
were black.
no, the piston.
Yeah, the pistons are black. Yep.
Okay.
No, that's pretty normal.
Okay. And we deleted it because, I mean, this go around, we just went ahead and deleted it. We're doing a turbo and coolant bypass tube and all that because it's just too expensive to buy a turbo. They're like $9,500, and this one here's cracked.
Hang on, Rob McDowell is in the comments section on Facebook. He is the main guy over at Highway and Heavy Parts. And he says pink is a 150 millimeter and the liners are not press fit, say like an N14 would be. So in other words, it's not unheard of that he could have pulled them out like that.
Okay. Well, I just, it's got 28,000 miles on it. And I think the piston wise blowing a hole had to come from the injector overfueling. So I believe that part maybe have been on that. But once we got into this, like all the liners have no crosshatch. They look like million-mile liners. And I usually deal with AT Performance in Phoenix, and they sent me some pictures of some liners with like 600, 700,000 miles on it, the same as my truck, and they look identical.
Okay, so two things to take away here. You're kind of reiterating what you already said, and I get that because I didn't answer those. But one thing, that turbo. Call Highway and Heavy Parts. You can get a turbo for way more affordable than what you got quoted. Probably half or even less. And get a short.
Oh, I know.
Get a short turbo instead of a full turbo, and get it for even less than that. But your other thing, you want to know what it really sounds like you have going on with a hole in the piston and completely washed out liners. It sounds like you have a really shitty tune. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Your injectors aren't just magically overfueling. The whole thing's overfueling because the tune is what's eating that up. Bet.
Well, they checked. They said that it was like 230 or 240 on the injectors. They were like way overfueling. And this tune I got is just basically a 605 2050 tune. It's nothing crazy.
Right, and that's what it was from the factory?
Yeah, it's a 605 truck, yes.
Oh, okay. So it has a factory tune on it, or somebody has put their own tune on it?
No, it's got a 605 non-VGT delete tune on it, a 605. But
that tune is what is tearing your truck apart. The guy that tuned it, and I don't know if it was you, so I'm not trying to offend anybody, but that tune's what's fucking your truck up, and you're going to put it together, and the same thing's going to happen again.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I mean, I've had this tune in like 7 different trucks and never had this issue. That's why I'm confused. Because
did the guy
did
the guy that put the tune in there talk like this? Did he say "new dude about it" when you were talking to him? Then he probably didn't do a good job. I have never.
No. This is somebody.
Right.
Yeah, I've been using him for like.
What you're describing is a tuning problem, man. That's what you're describing.
Wow, I'm just so confused because my other trucks ain't doing this, so I don't know.
Tear them open and find out. Maybe they are. Maybe they just haven't got to that point.
Well, one of them's got them. Well, I mean, the one truck got rebuilt at 300,000, and it's got $1 million on it now, and I've never touched it. It don't even drink a bit of oil, and it's got the same tune.
Okay.
So I'm just confused.
Yeah, well, not all those ends are probably the exact CPL and all that, and they may be, but they could all be different too. So. But
Yeah,
but you're
yeah.
not knocking holes in pistons for any other reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. I know that if I run a non-VGT, I run a lot cooler on the Pyro too. That's one reason I wanted to go to that.
Yeah.
But
But
okay,
lose
well,
as
I
it
appreciate
takes.
your time.
All right, brother. Have a good night.
Well, yep, thank you.
Yep, bye. All right, we got 4 more callers. We are at the end of the show. I will take these 4 calls. I'm not taking any more. So if you call in now, I won't take your call. One guy just called. He's only been on hold for 30 seconds. So I am going to take your call, and then we're going to cut it off. I did want to answer one question from the comments here. A guy was asking me why not to use green coolant. Your green coolant will quickly start to cause cavitational erosion. It just does not have the things in it that it needs. You can add additives to green coolant, but why the fuck would anyone do that when you could just buy extended life, red, or whatever coolant, and avoid that problem altogether? Green coolant anywhere, but it does get old, and people use it, and it is what it is. You know, that is yesteryear's coolant, and it's garbage. Hello, Sebastian. You're on the air.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. What can I do for you?
We got a fleet of medium duty trucks, IS67 ISBs, and just how those don't have liners because they're sleeveless. Whenever those need to get rebuilt, should we just always take the block out and send it to the machine shop, or if it's not that bad, can we just hone it ourselves?
I don't know what your personal skills with a hone are, but I would guess you could hone it yourself. It would really depend on what it looked like when you opened it up. I mean, if you got a liner that's completely scored out and destroyed, then you'd probably have to do something more drastic, get it bored out and then honed. But if you open it up and it still looks pretty good, I don't see why you couldn't hone it yourself.
That's what I'm saying. Like if we've done a few, and one we did have to take out because it was completely trash. Another one, it wasn't terrible, and so some guy did it in the truck. So
yeah,
so I was just thinking because I bought it. If it's not too bad, you can just leave it as is. But if it gets to that point, just pull the block to make life easier.
Yeah, you can get
problems later.
You can take it to a machine shop and they'll bore it over, and it's still salvageable.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, better than buying a whole engine and everything.
Yep. But I've honed my own liners before. I've rebuilt a few gas engines that I rehoned them myself. I never had any problem, but I just bought some fucking hone from like I think it was CarQuest or something like that. It worked. Is what it is. Anyway.
No, that was my question.
All right, brother. Have a good night, man, and good luck.
Thank you.
Yep, bye.
You too.
All right. Jim, what can we do for you, brother?
Hey, all right. So I watched a lot of your shows. You helped me forward. Let's see if you can help me again. So you're saying the horsepower is going to eat motors. I do anywhere from, I do anywhere empty weight is 68,000 pounds. Loaded weight all the way up to 310. And I run Montana, Idaho, Washington, Oregon, North Dakota, South Dakota, and Wyoming. So with that weight and running simple auxiliary, what horsepower do you recommend?
Oh, over 600, of course. 600 or above. Based on where you're running.
Yeah, so I'm I'm the one with the cat heavy hull tune that you help with the turbo, and thank you, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
That did a hell of a job. And I'm going to tell you what, you're way smarter than most of the people with online or radio show.
Well, thanks for that. So,
Well, you don't know how many people I took this truck to before I called you, and you said it's either this or this, and I changed it. And yeah, sorry I didn't get a chance to call back the next week.
oh no problem, man. I'm glad we were able to help you out. But here's some here's some ways to think about it. Okay, one of my brothers in Alaska hauled a lot heavier than me. He specialized in hauling heavy stuff, and he would crank his engines up closer to 700 horsepower, and they would last about 100,000 miles. But he made twice as much money as me, and I was getting between 400,000 and 500,000 out of my engines before I'd have to rebuild them. You know, 'cause you're still hauling really heavy and pulling. You know, my engines would wear out in 400,000 or 500,000 in Alaska, but they wouldn't blow up. His would come apart. You know, but he was okay with that because he made enough money. He would just rebuild it. You know, and he rebuilt one of his engines. You know, versus my personal truck to his personal truck. I rebuilt mine one time and he rebuilt his 7 times. But he was absolutely okay with that. And it's okay to have the kind of horsepower where you're constantly having to rebuild your engine and do stuff like that, if that is your strategy. But to build engines that put out that kind of horsepower and not expect to have to do those type of things is ludicrous. You know what I mean? That's the problem I have. Can I build?
I watched that video when you put that on there, and that's what made me start thinking. I was like, well, maybe I can go down a little bit, but I mean, I'm topping a hill with the motor I got, and I'm barely moving.
Right. So, but if you're hauling loads like that, I'm just going to go out on a limb and assume that you're getting paid very well, right? So if that's the case, then it shouldn't be too much of a concern to wear that engine out quickly. It's built into the cost of doing business, right? That's kind of where I'm going with that is
exactly.
You know,
and exactly. Well, I put my transmission frame. I put everything into the cost, but yeah, I get paid to do what I do.
Right. I mean, I used to have trucks that had auxiliary transmissions. You know, I have a second transmission and twin speed differentials. If I lost a differential, it could cost me up to $16,000 to fix it. That's how we got good at rebuilding differentials and transmissions ourselves. We used to do a lot of diffs and transmissions before until we came down here to the lower 48, and everybody has a 40,000-pound rear, and you know, and these light. Even if they have 18 speed, it's a super light duty 18 speed, and it's just not cost effective to rebuild them. It's more cost effective just to do a drop in. But, you know, if that wasn't a thing, we would probably have a whole division where we just did differentials and transmissions because we're pretty good at them. But, you know, I would buy trucks like that where it basically put you under if you have something go bad. But we hauled heavy shit and got paid really well for it. In dangerous conditions, so it's built into the cost. So there are certain people out there that can justify having an engine with a lot of horsepower, but just don't bitch about the fact that it's going to grenade on you. Just be prepared to rebuild it. That's my only thing.
Oh no, we rebuild it. We rebuild it and replace it quite a few times a year. So, well, not a year, but did a lifetime. So what, the trucks, I've had it since 04.
Right.
I think I've had 12 engines.
Right. So we're on the same page.
It does. It works.
Right. So when we build when we build horsepower here, when I'm talking about it, my rule of thumb is if you have to change the way that you're driving, then the horsepower is too high. Right. So I build, you know, my idea of building a horsepower engine, you know, like for a C15 is going to be right around 600 horsepower, where anybody can drive it and they don't have to change the way they drive. And it's not going to blow up on them. So like when we do a Cummins, like a guy called me today and he had a 400 horsepower Cummins and he's like, I want a 605. Well, guess what? I can do that. And we do that kind of stuff all the time. But, you know, how much does he want to pay to make that jump is the real question. You know, he really would be better off starting out with like a 500, 535 horsepower, and we build that to a 605. Taking a 400 to a 605 is pretty spendy adventure. We're changing some gears, camshaft, injectors, piston crowns, but it can all be done, and
But that's on his market too, though.
right. Well, what I'm saying is if I built that to a 605, that would be my idea of building somebody a horsepower engine where he doesn't have to change the way that he drives. When he leaves here, he can just go drive it like a normal human being. He never has to adjust the way that he drives because we built up his horsepower and gave him, compared to his 400 horsepower engine, that's a fucking monster, right? So that's my idea of doing horsepower. But if somebody ever came to me and said, hey, will you build me an 800 horsepower cat? The answer is absolutely. Just don't cry when it comes apart in 100 or 200,000 miles, because that's the nature of the game when you play that.
Okay, well, you just answered my next question then. So you're going to get the next motor, and it's probably 3 months out.
Well, hopefully it's a little longer than that, brother. But anyway, I got to take these last callers. We're already past our time, so let's wrap it up. And I'm glad
it's not, but I thank you. I thank you so much, because I put out, I did put it on the dyno. I took it to Cat, put it on the dyno. I put out 740 horsepower to the ground.
Jesus. Right on, man. Well, that's awesome.
So yeah, it's time again, and nope, you're going to be the one that I take it to. I'm not taking it back to Cat.
Oh, geez. All right, man. Well, you have a good night. I'll talk to you soon. Well, hopefully not.
You do the same. Thanks.
Yep. Bye.
Oh, it'll be soon.
All right. Bye. 700 horsepower Detroit, a little over 1 million miles out of it before I rebuilt. Guys say stuff like that, and I'm not calling you a liar, that you have a 700 horsepower 12.7 and you got 1 million miles out of it without having to rebuild it, but you didn't just fucking drive it like a daily driver. You had to treat it like an egg all the time. And in my mind, that is not having a horsepower truck. It's just not. Hello, Daniel.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mr. Aaron.
Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
Yes, sir. So I just ended up having an in-frame rebuild. I had crack. I called in a few shows ago, and I mentioned about I had a crackhead, and they had gasket went bad, and they just rebuilt my engine at the dealership. I had no choice. When I went and got my truck, I told them to change the coolant bottle because it still had the residue from last time. And they put a new coolant bottle and they flushed it. And now my question to you, and I know you rebuilt so many Cummins, is when you flush, do you get rid of that soot, or there's still some residue that could come into the new coolant bottle?
Oh, absolutely. You can still have
soot residue.
You can still have some residue, no problem.
Okay. Good.
I wouldn't.
I was just wondering.
I wouldn't worry about it, unless you're having to add.
Okay.
Unless you're having to add coolant or having some other similar issue. If you're just seeing a little bit of soot residue, don't worry about it. If you're really worried about it, do a combustion test. I mean, go to Napa and get a combustion test for yourself and just do the test yourself.
Right, Mr. Okay. Okay.
But I wouldn't be getting too concerned.
Yeah, because I was just worried about it, and because I did they road tested for me, and when I got there to pick up my truck, I did my pre-trip, and the first thing I looked at the coolant, and it was low, and I was like, well, I can't take this truck on the road. I mean, I just got a fresh rebuild. What's this coolant going? Well, they told me a burp. It's like, well, if you're test driving in, I mean, you should have got all the burps out, I was thinking. But Yeah, that's why I was just kind of worried because they pressure tested again, and a leak, one of those at the above at the on top of the valve cover where the intake is. There's like an elbow hose, and they said that one it was leaking. It was like a blue hose, and they changed that, and now, like I said, my I still see a little bit of residue of soot, and then after they did the pressurizing test and the flushed again, I took it on the road. I drove it. I ended up adding some more coolant, and then I just at the end of today, I looked at it again, and the coolant is following right at the minimum line again. So I wasn't, really sure. But I'm just kind of
then you probably have a problem. Something got fucked up.
Okay, Mr.
You're
Aaron.
having to add
Yeah.
coolant, so there's
And another
something wrong.
And another thing, Mr. Aaron, I'm a little bit frustrated. Behind the engine, where the engine connects with the transmission, Mr. Aaron. Right there's I put my hand and there's wet over there in a puddle, and it looks like it's diesel because I can smell it. So it's a puddle of diesel, and I took a rag because I thought I thought when they did the in-frame, they probably didn't clean it up or something spilled over there anyway. So I took a rag this morning and I cleaned it up. In the end of my work shift, I looked again, and a puddle of diesel is back there. And I was just kind of wondering, what do you think that could be? I know it's maybe they probably pitched like a fuel line, I was thinking.
It's probably your return fuel line.
Return fuel line. Okay. Would I be able to drive with it to make it to the shop with it, or?
It shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. Should be able. Okay. Okay, Mr. Aaron. Yeah.
You need to take the truck back to that shop. They fucked something up, brother.
Well, I'm kind of losing faith, Mr. Aaron. Like I said, with especially going there after the in-frame done and testing it.
But what do you do? You take it somewhere else and pay someone else to do it all over again?
No, I took them to MSC Kenworth. I thought all of them Kenworths, they work together. So I was thinking maybe try a different one, maybe better luck. I don't know. Well,
So this is out of fucking Kenworth?
yes, sir.
And Jesus Christ, man. If you're having to add coolant, take it back.
Yeah.
They fucked it up.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Aaron.
All right.
I'll do that. I'll go in tomorrow morning and see what they can say.
Yeah,
what they find out.
Quit letting them tell you there's nothing wrong. There's obviously something wrong. You're still putting combustion gas into the system.
Exactly.
You're losing coolant.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Good luck.
Sounds good, Mr. Aaron. I'll do that.
All right.
I appreciate you. Sorry for that. Thank you.
Oh, no, you're good. Bye. All right, we got one more caller. We'll take him here in a second. Somebody asked how our warranty works. Our warranty is really simple. Our wording of our warranty is in no way, shape, or form tries to keep us from honoring our warranty. It entirely is geared around protecting us from other shops. And I'll use a really easy scenario. Let's say that we had done a new water pump for you, and you're all the way in Kansas, and you call and say, "Hey, Aaron, this water pump took a shit." And I'm like, okay, well, obviously it's not feasible to bring it back to us, but that's preferable, of course. But in the situations where it's not feasible, you would just take it to some other shop. You'd give me the address. We would overnight you a water pump to that shop, so you'd have it the next day. You would have it installed, and then we would pay you for the labor on that the exact same as if you had brought it to us. It's that simple. And that's what I mean by protecting ourselves from other shops. I think we're like 3 hours or whatever to do a water pump here at whatever an hour. That's what we would compensate you for. If some other shop charges you $6,000 to install your water pump, which is not unheard of in this fucking crazy industry that we're in, we're not paying that. That's how it works. So, but it's really interesting because guys, part of our warranty requirement is you have to reach out to us first and involve us in it. And it usually goes pretty smooth. But what we've found out is other shops, when they find out that we're involved in it, they will just end up charging what we're going to warranty it for. What a fucking surprise. It's happening more and more and more and more. where guys are not getting smoked by shops, and they're just charging what we're going to pay out. So, which is really cool actually. You know, and we're fair. We're fair. It's not like we use precedent, so we can go look at what we charged the last 10 people that came and have a water pump done. It's not like we make some shit up. So it seems to work out pretty well that way. We kind of try to take care of everybody that has an issue. But watching you live from China, working out of the country for a couple weeks. Great show. Thanks, man. You're over there in China, huh? Right on. Always wanted to go there. I bet that's really cool, man. I'm peanut butter and jealous right now. We have one more caller. Let's take this caller. We got to get this wrapped up. Another guy called in. Brother, man, I cannot take your call. We're already way past our time. I just got to drop your call. But we are going to take Philip here. I think it's Philip. Hello, you're on the air.
How you doing, man?
Good. You might have to. You're getting a little echo there, but what can I do for you,
Can
man?
you hear me whatever now?
Yeah, go ahead. What can we do for you?
So, yeah, I called in previously. I was the one with the cat, new owner of the cat. You told me in regards to the valve cover gaskets and the blow by, change my oil more frequently, and I've been doing that. And I have seen a significant difference in the blow by, like just exactly like how you said. But I do have one question because the previous owner of the truck was advising me, because I'm like, I'm constantly having to turn the manual fan on. The temperature is constantly going up, constantly not overheating, but just significantly going up. That I realize it a lot. I turn the fan on, turn the fan on, the temperature goes back down. It's just fine. But I was in the Volvo before this. Obviously, it's not a Volvo, but what I'm pretty much curious about is, I mean, is it like water pump time, or is it just like, is that how these cats run? I'm just trying to see, like, are they like high temperature? It's a 3406E in the summertime, or
what temperature are you letting it get to before you turn the fan on?
I turn the fan on anything over like 200, like 205.
Yeah,
I turn the fan on 210, 205.
You need to stop doing that. The fan doesn't even come on
Okay.
until 218. First thing you need to do is let the fan come on its own and make sure that it cools itself down all by itself. If it does, it doesn't have a problem, and then I would quit turning the fan on. Let it do it itself, because it needs to get that hot to burn off carbon.
Oh, okay. Shit. Different from our previous truck. That's why I'm calling you, but okay, I'll start doing that. I never owned a cat, so I'm just trying to gain information. But if they like to run hot, because I'm like, man, this thing is going up to almost like 220.
All diesel engines need to get that hot. All of them.
Okay.
All right, brother. No worries.
Okay.
All
I
right.
appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Have a good night. Sorry I hung up on you there, Jake. Of course, I can't really tell from here who I'm hanging up on, but I got to go home at some point. It's already almost 9:30. The show's supposed to be over at 9. I do have a family, do have a life. Yeah, I was gonna share our number on there. Ashley, that's my wife. She's sharing her personal office number. If you're wondering why it doesn't match the number I've been giving you guys, that is a number you guys can call. People are asking for the number. I can't find the barometric pressure sensor. Oh, you ain't trying hard enough. Dylan Bailey has 3 engines with us right now. Jesus. Oh, okay, yeah. You have that Alice Chalmers here, I bet. That's gonna be a fun one. I hope I get to do that one myself. I'm hoping I have the time to do that one. That's my plan. I want to do that one myself. That will be fun. But anyway, guys, I probably better wrap it up. Sorry about the glitchiness on the internet. I'm not sure what was going on there. Our internet at this shop is shitty anyway. I want to get Starlink. We have Starlink on our boat. It works awesome. I could be out in a storm in the middle of the ocean and we're streaming faster than shit. I could be playing Call of Duty on our boat, and the internet here is some local company. It's supposed to be super fast, and it's just shitty. I walk around the shop and drop service 5 times. So, anyway, I appreciate you guys coming to the show. It's always a good time. All the guys that came here to help out. Rob, super cool you were on here. Rob, if you're still on here, I did figure out how to have a guest on the show without you having to be here. So I definitely want to bring you on the show. I know we've done a show together before when I went to Michigan and hung out with you, but that's Rob from Highway and Heavy Parts, guys. One of the most knowledgeable guys in our industry. Just all around knowledge about every engine, not just a specific type. One of the best guys out there. So definitely want to have him on. Hopefully he's down for that. I'm sure he will be. Do you guys do custom tunes? Yes, we do. I don't tune stuff myself. I don't pretend to be that guy, but we have Canadians that do everything for us. They're an official business in Canada. And boy, I would never use anybody else's. I would be devastated if they stopped doing our stuff for me, because we have tuned hundreds of trucks and never had a negative connotation one from their tunes ever. So yeah, they're the best. And they also do all of our failure analysis for us, so we can kind of have a less biased person do them. You know, instead of us doing failure analysis, they'll do our critical reports for us and failure analysis on stuff if we're, you know, that in depth on some kind of a warranty or something. So Canadians are the best, man. Like I said, if they don't talk like new dude about it, then you probably don't want them inside your ECM. And it's pretty obvious why. I mean, they can go get educated on stuff like that, and you can't hear. Their rules are a lot more lax. So yeah, they just do a lot better job. Anyway, guys, it's it for tonight. Appreciate everybody that hung out on TikTok, even though you can't hear the caller. We think by next week we'll have something figured out where where people on TikTok can integrate and hear the caller. It might be a little funky how we do it, but we think we got a plan that'll work. We'll see how that works out. But anyway, appreciate all the YouTubers and Facebookers and all the commenters. Charlie, I don't think you're in here anymore, but thanks for your help as always. Diesel Beast, Worldwide Diesel. I do appreciate Andy Long, one of our in-house guys. He's always on here. All you guys helping out all the time. And just all the commenters in general. We're starting to come together. This is how I envisioned this, is where we came together as a group, as a family, so to speak, and all kind of helped everybody out. It's not just me up here telling everybody what I think about shit, but where it's everybody being involved. And it's starting to be, every show is starting to be more and more of that. And that's what I envisioned in the beginning. And I'm just super refreshed and pleased to see it going that route. I never wanted this to be the Aaron show where I tell everybody how the fuck it is, you know, I'm not smart enough for all that. So, yeah. And thank you, Ashley, for always making it entertaining and keeping people pointed in the right direction. I don't know how I would do half the things I do without my old lady around to keep me straight. You guys have a good night. Love you long time, like always.